Sit. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little girl, them. And I'ma tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Yes, sir. Wolverine Nation. Shout to all my peoples, baby. Michigan, stand up, man. Welcome to another M&M Mondays. It's your boy, the Maniac. And I got my man,
Kinetic.
Kinetic, my man. Listen, guys. Welcome to another Monday, man. We appreciate everyone who tunes in every Monday and every other day. We got a good show lined up today. Also joining us later in the show will be Matthew Miller of the Voice of College Football Texas. We'll be talking Texas Clemson with him and breaking that game down and, other questions that we're going to have for him. And of course, we always encourage everybody in the chat to also ask questions, man. Kinetic, man, how you feeling today, man?
I'm good, man. It's good to see us starting to get active.
Correct.
I'm glad to see that. I was getting a little bit worried. Still would like to see more, but we'll see. We'll see where we go. But I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I think this week we're gonna get some more good news. But I want to touch on something that just passed that happened this past Saturday. Excuse me. We at the Heisman ceremony, right? And that was, of course, won by Travis Hunter from the Colorado Buffaloes. Everyone knew it was between him and Genty. I mean, for those that don't know, we do have a chat. Me, Kinetic, TJ, John, Johnny, Madman, and it was pretty much split down the middle. We wanted Travis. Well, not that I wanted Travis to win. I just, to me, felt he deserved it. Kinetic made it clear on why Genty deserved it, and if he would have won it, I would have been okay with it, But anything has changed since then? Your mind, Kinetic?
No, I mean, here's the thing, and I've had some people seem to think that I was down on Travis. I think Travis is a great player. I love the fact that he's a 4.0 student while doing everything he did on the field. I think he's going to be a hell of an NFL player. I wasn't trying to take away from that. I just personally felt like what Genty was doing was more impressive for the reasons that I stated on the show, and I felt like he should have won. But that's not in any way trying to take away from Travis and what he did and what he accomplished. I think he absolutely was deserving of being there. I think that I'm not mad he won the Heisman. I just think that in this particular season, I think Genty should have won it. But contrary to what people seem to believe, I do not have anything against Travis Hunter.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad you made that clear, and I could vouch for that. I never sensed that you said anything negative towards Travis or felt like he wasn't a good player. You did give him his flowers. And the same thing for Genty. And even before the Heisman ceremony, you had mentioned on one of these shows, you said, all right, is Genty the best running back? And I said, absolutely, because we were kind of all going back and forth on that Travis Hunter, Genty debate on who we think should win the Heisman. But yeah, Genty, man, look, the beauty about this, like I mentioned on the show we did Saturday, is that now is motivation. Kinetic, for his team. I know they feel disrespected, especially those linemen that felt like they put that work in the trenches, and they're gonna play a big boy team, man. They're gonna play a big boy team, whether it be SMU, whether it be Penn State. I think we all leaning more towards Penn State because I think it'll look more impressive if he puts up a good game against Penn State because they more defensively sound than SMU is. What's your thought on that?
So here's the thing. In the pick'em that I did, I picked Penn State. However, I did on the Week 0 podcast when Maize was over there with Ryan and those guys. As soon as they dropped the brackets, I did say that SMU would upset Penn State. I picked that because just like when you do your March Madness brackets, you always pick an upset. I wanted to see that upset, but if I'm being real, I want to see them play, and I don't think that SMU has the horses to beat Penn State. It would be nice to see it, but I do think that Penn State's going to advance past SMU, and I think they're going to run into a highly motivated Boise State team. So I'm excited to see that.
No, absolutely, man. And that's the beauty about college football, right? It's just like the same mantra we have in NFL. Any given Sunday, man, any given Saturday as well in college football. You can't just go in there sleepwalking, man. Anything can happen. If you're not ready, you could get punched in the mouth. I think Ohio State learned that on the 30th with Michigan, right? But speaking of which, this week we get college football, man. So that's the playoffs will officially kick off this week, starting on Friday night to be exact, which will be Notre Dame versus Indiana. It's two teams from the same state. We know Notre Dame, a blue blood of college football. I believe this is their third time in the playoff. But they've never won a playoff game. They are favorites to win. I'm expecting them to win, but listen, man, Indiana has a shot. Every team has a shot, this week. So I'm excited, man. You excited for these games?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm to have this much postseason football and college football, man. It's crazy because like the parity that this is causing in college football, where you don't have any super teams anymore, and anyone can beat anyone on any weekend, and then we transition to these playoffs and have this much football in December and even going into January. It's going to be crazy.
Man,
we do have a $4.99 super chat here from Mr. Jones. Popularity contest. I don't take awards seriously, but best players never get them unless they're popular. Yeah. So, and again, I'm not trying to take away from Travis because what he did was great. In my opinion, though, you should be one of the best, if not the best, at your position to win the Heisman. And he had an above-average cornerback season. He had an above-average wide receiver season. Ashton Jeanty had the best running back season, not just of this year, but stat-wise, better than almost any running back that I can't think of another running back in the last 20 years that so it is partially a popularity contest. I do think that Travis Hunter had the media machine, the hype machine that surrounds Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. I think he had that behind him. But Ashton Jeanty won the fan vote. He won the popular vote. So there's something to be said about the media hype machine versus what the country thinks. But again, Travis absolutely deserved it because being above average at two different positions on both sides of the ball, it does mean something. I just thought that what Ashton Jeanty did meant more.
Yeah, so I think
Malachi, his numbers weren't better. If you go back and compare, if you compare the numbers, his numbers aren't better. Now you can make the case that he did it against Big Ten competition, but they weren't better.
Yeah, I think what hurt Jeanty was one, again, we mentioned it, conference, it's competition, that matters. It's still impressive. I'm not saying it's not impressive, but when the voters are looking, that's what they're looking at. Could he done this against Michigan, against Ohio State? I mean, he did it against Oregon, but on the week in, week out basis, that's different, right? So, and then you say above average. No, Travis Hunter was elite on both sides. Now, I wouldn't say he was the best wide receiver. No, I wouldn't say that. Was he the best corner? He can make an argument that he was. I think that's between him and Will, right? I think that they styles a little too different. Obviously, Travis is a little athletic than what Will is, but nah, Travis was elite on both sides. Just imagine that. That you have to cover the best wide receiver every Saturday, the whole game, and when you at wide receiver, their best corner is covering you. So you going up against top-notch competition every week, right? So that's tough, man. That is tough. Now, again, I get it. The Big 12 is not the SEC. It wasn't the Big 10 this year, but it still was a tough conference, man. Especially Arizona State can make a lot of noise in the playoffs and prove a lot of people wrong. But anyway, the man is here, man. Madman, thank you for joining us, my brother. Welcome aboard.
Thank you guys for holding it down.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I heard the conversation. I'm not gonna elaborate on this one because we can beat a dead horse.
We did
for
a whole
sure.
show about it the other day. So
yeah. So we can move along.
And we have actually our guest of the hour is here.
That super chat. There was a super chat there. Let's make sure we get that.
We'll get to that. Then we'll welcome Mr. Matthew Miller on. Shout out to Big House Boy. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He says, Big House Boy checking in. Hope everyone's having a great night. Good to see Michigan heating up in the portal. Definitely good to see Michigan heating up in the portal. It was looking real Shabba Ranks there for a minute. Finally, though, they got that thing together. Hopefully, this is just the start of a lot of momentum. Anyway, without any further ado, from Voice of College Football, Texas, Matthew Miller. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Doing great.
How you doing? Or how you doing with the playoff selection?
So I mean, everyone has been jumping on Texas, with strength of schedule and path, and I'm just looking at, Indiana, Notre Dame, Penn State strength of schedule. I'm like, okay, why aren't they getting talked about? But I know it's the brand, so Texas has the cachet, so they talk about Texas. So I understand that. And Penn State got the easiest draw, in my opinion. So it's gonna be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How did they get awarded with the easiest path like that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Matthew, how you doing, brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm nervous about this game. I don't know how to feel about it, honestly. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So that's going to bring me to my first question here. I mean, obviously, right, you guys ended the regular season 11-2. Both your losses coming from to Georgia, right? I believe the second game, the SEC championship, I felt you guys blew that game. There was a lot of opportunities there that y'all squandered, but hey, it is what it is, right? That's football. The main thing is you still competing for the ultimate goal, which is the national championship. What is Longhorn Nation feeling going into this game against Clemson? It's how is the energy, man? Because I know that was a tough defeat you guys took a couple of weeks ago. So what's the energy around Austin these days?
Yeah, so obviously Texas being the only major program down in Austin, you don't have a professional sports team. I think it is the biggest city in America now with no professional sports team now that Columbus does have one. It's interesting because Quinn Ewers, I thought, played okay in that game. He didn't play great. He didn't play bad. I thought he played okay, but he wasn't the reason we lost that game. But a lot of people want to depend on him and say, Arch. And especially the national media. Obviously, they have a narrative to drive there because they know that Manning name, what it carries and the clicks it gets and everything like that. And then you see the BS reports coming out, Quinn Ewers going to transfer. And then you get like real Texas sources like, he's not transferring. He's going to go to the NFL after this is over. So I'd say that's like the biggest thing coming out from that game is the quarterback. What's going on with that? Do I think Arch Manning should be used more? Absolutely. We have a red zone issue, and we've had a red zone issue at Texas under Steve Sarkisian for a while now. And this is a stat I've repeated on my channel. I'm going to repeat it here. In 2022, we were 13th in red zone scoring. Last year, we were 79th in red zone scoring. I'll give you something crazier. Iowa was 80th. We are one spot better than Iowa. And I said on my channel, can we get into the 50s? Can we be better? We were trending that way for the longest time. And then we completely fell off. And we are 106th in red zone scoring. That is the biggest thing that is holding this team back. And whether that's a Quinn Ewers issue, a Steve Sarkisian issue, a combination of the both, which I think that's the main thing, even though I do put most of it on Sark because Sark struggled with that in the NFL as well. That is why he got fired from the Atlanta Falcons, because he struggled in the end zone. The guy can move the ball 20 to 20 easily with the best of them. But if you notice in 2022, the reason why I think he did so well is because you had Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson. You don't have anybody in the backfield like that this year. Our starting running back, CJ Baxter, got hurt, and that has created that big issue here. And then Quinn Ewers, listen, I'll talk about his flaws. Does he have the biggest arm? No. He struggles in tight windows, and guess what? In the red zone, that's what you have to be able to do is hit those tight windows. So would I like to see Arch Manning more down in the red zone? I absolutely would love to see Arch Manning down in the red zone. But in between the 20s, I trust Quinn Ewers. That's the biggest thing for me going into this week. I think that's a lot with the fan base too between Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers.
So you mentioned the injury to your running back. That was that CJ Baxter, right?
Yeah, CJ Baxter.
So I remember when that injury first happened, I thought it was going to be a huge deal, with what were you guys going to do at running back. Then when you guys came to Michigan, it didn't seem like that was that big of a deal. Like it seemed like you guys were able to just immediately fill that role, no problem. As the season went on, what it looked to me like that became part of the problem. Am I off base there, or how much do you think that contributed to the struggles that Texas had later in the season?
So I wasn't really worried about running the football with the backups. I was worried about pass protection. That was the biggest thing for me, and I've seen that a lot with Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is not a good pass protector out of the backfield. I wasn't really expecting much from him out of that aspect, but also the thing that worried me with him was fumbling. I made a video about 6 weeks ago where I was all over Jaden Blue because at one point the guy was fumbling once every 40 touches. That's terrible. And then it's gotten worse. It's up to once every 28 or 29 touches now. So that's the biggest issue with him. He's not a very good pass blocker. And then he's fumbling the ball. And you guys probably remember this in the Michigan game. He catches that one-on-one and he makes, I don't know who that linebacker was or safety, made that dude a fool. That dude was crawling on the ground when he broke his ankles in the Michigan game. He does that to anyone. Like one-on-one, that dude's not getting tackled, but he has an issue holding onto the ball. And then Trey Wisner, who I thought Trey Wisner is, he's a good, solid back who was a walk-on, who's a really good special teams player, and he can be good in moments, but he's not a number one back. So I think you've seen that. CJ Baxter, listen, I underrated him the year before. I said, why is he starting over Jonathan Brooks? And I was right about Jonathan Brooks. I love Jonathan Brooks. I thought he was going to be great. It sucks what is happening to him in the NFL, but I've been sleeping on CJ Baxter. I should have relied on what Nick Saban said. At SEC Media Days, Nick Saban said, CJ Baxter is the best running back I faced all year last year. And my eyes went up and my eyebrows went up when I saw that. I was like, really? And I should have believed him because we miss him dearly. Like, he changes this team. He's a much better pass protector. He's a really good physical runner, and we're struggling again in the red zone. We could definitely use a CJ Baxter down in the red zone. So you're 100% right. We have definitely missed that key element out of the backfield.
Absolutely. One thing before we start really getting into breaking down this Clemson matchup, one of the questions I had, I guess it's kind of been answered. You spoke about your difficulties in the red zone, but when you guys came to the big house and really laid the smackdown on Michigan earlier in the season, it looked like you could do no wrong. It's red zone 20-20. And I even said and stand by that they kind of took their foot off the gas in the second half of that game. That game, you could have scored 40, 50 points easily in that game, in my opinion. And Quinn Ewers looked the part, right? He looked fantastic in that game. He really picked apart that secondary. And you can, as a Michigan fan, and I know there are Michigan fans in the chat, even these guys, that Michigan defense did get better the second half of the season. Maybe they started to pick up on the terminology or whatever it was. But still, there were some quality football players out there, right? You guys held Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant in check for the most part. Josiah Stewart the same. What is it? Because, again, you only lost the 2 games against Georgia. What is it that Georgia presents to you that, teams like Michigan didn't? Now, before you answer that, I know Michigan offensively couldn't move the ball, especially earlier in the season. but still it was a quality defense that you guys really took apart, and you're not necessarily doing that with Georgia.
Yeah, so I definitely think Michigan hadn't come into their own yet defensively, even though I think the front four has basically been the same. I think it's more the linebackers and safeties and corners for you guys kind of came into their own. Georgia does this versus every quality opponent. They basically say, we're going to line up man on man and beat you. Like if you watch the Texas game, they lined up with 5 down linemen all the time and said, we're going 1v1 versus your offensive line. Can you block us? Pass protection wise, I think we win about 70% of those reps, which still isn't good pass protection wise. Run game wise, I think we maybe win 10% of those reps. Like we're getting destroyed when we play them in the run game. We rushed for like 31 yards last game, and we rushed for 27 yards the game before. They are dominating us in the run game. And again, that has to do with the scheme. It's a bad situation. And the thing about Steve Sarkisian, what he did versus you guys was beautiful, because you guys, especially Wink Martindale, didn't seem prepared for it. He loves to hit you east to west and then exploit you north to south. That doesn't work versus Georgia. You cannot go east to west versus Georgia. That sideline speed that they have, those linebackers, those aliens that they have running sideline to sideline, that doesn't work. Jalen Walker, that first game, that was one of the most dominant one-man defensive performance I've ever seen. He had like 3.5 sacks, 4 or 5 tackles were lost. You can't run those plays for Georgia because they're disciplined, they're athletic, and if they get a step away from where they should be, they can just make up for it with their athleticism. That's why it doesn't work. I begged Steve Sarkisian, and it worked early on. If you notice in that Georgia game, we were hitting plays down the field. Matthew Golden was eating their cornerbacks alive. He had like 170 yards in that game, and it was attacking vertically. And I said, Sark, keep attacking vertically. Keep attacking vertically. If you're going to run, you have to bend an outside zone because their defensive linemen are too athletic. And what was happening is we were getting a lot of holding calls on outside zone. That's going to happen anyways, but you're going to get a lot more if the defensive line's really athletic and they're beating your guy to the spot, and that's what they were doing. But anytime we ran in between the guard and center, we did a pretty good job. We were able to get 3 yards, 4 yards versus them, which, listen, versus Georgia, that's a win if you can do that. So you have to ban in the outside zone run if we do see him again, and you cannot run these long-time screen plays. They do not work. They don't work. And I know that's a big part of Sark's game plan, but at some point, and he did it better in the second game. I will say that. The first game was terrible. It was a terrible game plan, did not work at all. He got a little bit better, but he still used it a little bit too much. In the third game, if we do play him, if we're lucky enough to get to the national championship game, you have to completely abandon that game plan. You cannot throw screens versus that Georgia team. I've seen one screen work in 2 games versus them, one, and it was a delayed tight end screen to Gunnar Helm that was run beautifully. If you want to run that again, sure, but wide receivers and running back screens got to go out the window.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no. Yeah. No, definitely, man. It's tough, man. I understand, man, because you see a team like Georgia Tech have all this success against them, and you say, man, we got guns, man, and we can't do that. But I like to use a reference they have in boxing, right? Styles make fights. Same thing in football, man. It's the same thing in football. But listen, man, let's not delay. Clemson versus your Longhorns, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm a Eastern time. But what you know about Clemson, what you've seen from them, we know Clemson has been one of the elite teams in the last 10 years, about 4 national championship appearances, 2 natty wins. So, Dabo's no stranger to big games. So talk to me, Matt, how you feel about this game and how you see this game going.
Yeah, so if Texas were consistent, I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns because I think they do have the better team. I think Texas defense, like if we're listing like what unit are you most confident in the playoffs, to me, Texas is number 1 with defense. I think Texas defense is the best out of every unit in college football. I really believe that. The problem is the Texas offense is too inconsistent. And I will say this, like you said, Styles makes fights, and I completely agree with that. This is a bad matchup for Clemson because Clemson relies on deep shots. They hit you with explosive plays. Texas is number 1 defensively of allowing the least amount of explosive plays to the passing game, and they're in the top 10 in the running game. That's all Clemson does. They are feast or famine offensively. So that's a good matchup for Texas. The thing that does worry me, and I don't care what people say, Cade Klubnik will play with a chip on his shoulder in this game. This guy went to high school in Texas. He's playing Quinn Ewers, who he played in a state championship game and beat. I think he wanted to go to Texas. Texas really didn't pursue him. They pursued Quinn Ewers. I actually put a tweet from like 3 years ago. I said Cade Klubnik was going to be better than Quinn Ewers. I hope I'm wrong on Saturday. So I think for Clemson to win this game, I honestly think it's going to take something like Kevin Jennings. Also, I talked about this for Penn versus Penn State. I think both those guys, but concentrating on this game, I think he's going to have about 200 to 250 yards passing and then 75 to 100 yards rushing, because they're also probably going to be without the running back Phil Maffa, and their backup running back Jay Haynes is already out for the year. So you're out your top two starters. After that, it's going to be really on Cade Klubnik to be running the ball, because after Phil Maffa, he has 1,100 yards. Jay Haynes was their second leading rusher from the running back position. He's out for the year with 280. They have legitimately no one left if Phil Maffa's out. So it's going to really come down to Cade Klubnik. And then on their defensive side of the ball, are they able to stop the outside zone? Again, that is a staple of the Steve Sarkisian scheme. He has done, we've been able to run outside zone versus everyone not named Georgia. I think Texas A&M has a really good defensive line. The NFL will prove that when all those guys get drafted, Shamar Stewart and those guys will go second, third round. They're highly talented players. And Texas ran for over 200 yards versus them. So to me, if Texas can do something like that versus that front, they should be able to do that versus this Clemson front. If they're able to do that, I think Texas pulls away in this game and wins. Will they? I don't know. If the outside zone doesn't work in this game, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be honest. If we're in a halftime and the outside zone isn't working, I'm going to be nervous.
Yeah. Well, we got ahead of ourselves just a little bit with results, but that's fine because we can still do this second part. We wanted to preview the position groups, get your opinion. We'll get the opinion of the chat as well. Obviously, Kinetic, Maniac, you give your opinions as well. But of these two teams, who do you give the edge to in terms of offensive line?
I definitely think it's Texas, other than Georgia. So we've given up 28 sacks on the year. 13 of them have come to Georgia. So we've given up 15. Yeah. They dominate us, man. We got a Georgia issue. I'm not going to come in here and lie to people. I said that on my channel. I know what the issue is. Right now, we just don't have the Jimmys and Joes to match up with that team. But versus almost any other team, I feel pretty confident. It's going to be interesting if Kelvin Banks does give it a go. From every report, he did practice today. He is in a brace, though, so that will be interesting. But I will say Trevor Gooseby stepped up. He's played pretty well. He played really good in the A&M game. He played okay versus Georgia, which your second start versus Georgia, and you played okay. I'm going to give you props on that. So it'll be interesting if he can give it a go. But I definitely think Texas is the better offensive line in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the Texas O-line is one of the best in the country. That's one of the things that I loved watching in the week 2 matchup was our defensive line versus their offensive line. It was great to watch. As someone who played defensive line, I love that matchup. So I really like Texas's O-line. I don't think that Clemson's D-line matches up very well with them personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I mean, when you look at the Texas O-line, even coming into the season, they were considered the number one unit coming into this they season. And then week 2, they were tested against us, Michigan, who we might have 2 first-rounders on that D-line. And they just manhandled us. They just played with us. It looked like JV versus varsity out there, that D-line. We just couldn't do nothing. But of course, as the season progresses, you get hurt here and there. And again, styles, you've seen different styles. But yeah, man, Texas without a doubt has the better O-line in this matchup. So yeah, I'm definitely going Texas.
No doubt. Same question to the chat. Who do you think has the edge along the offensive line? Dom said Texas should dominate both sides in the trenches, D-line and offensive line. So we know his answer. Everybody here thinks that Texas gets the edge there. Moving on to defensive line, same question. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Texas gets this edge too. I thought that they would take a step back after last year with what you lost, but you replaced them with equally talented guys, if not better in some cases. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so coming into the season, I said the edges for Texas would be better this year than last year, and that's proven out. I mean, Colin Simmons has come in and been phenomenal as a freshman. 8 sacks as a freshman is really good. I don't know why Dylan Stewart's getting more love than him. I think he's just as good, if not better, of a player. And then the interior is what, I think the national media kind of overblew it because I thought we had good players in there. Now, did I think Alfred Collins, who is, according to Pro Football Focus, the #1 rated defensive tackle, which back-to-back years Texas had the #1 defensive tackle, according to Pro Football Focus, did I think we'd have that? No. But overall, it's been a great unit. Vernon Broughton's gotten better. Alfred Collins, again, has played really well. You've seen guys like Bill Norton come in from Arizona. He's played really well. Barron Sorrell is a senior off the edge, has played well. So, yeah, I think they are better than Clemson. I would say this is closer than offensive lines. I think Texas offensive line is much better than Clemson's. I think our defense line is better than Clemson's, but I don't think it's a lot better. They still have like Peter Woods and guys like that. I forget Parker. I forget his first name, but he has 11 sacks on the year for Clemson off the edge. So they still have a really good defensive line.
For sure.
Yeah. No. Okay, Kinetic.
No, I was just going to say that the Clemson's not a barren team. They have a good line, but I mean, my preseason picks, which obviously can't happen now because the way the bracket came out, was Texas and Oregon going all the way, and I'm very high on Texas. I think that that in most position groups they and D-line included they're going to outmatch Clemson here. They've got good players. I just think Texas has better.
Yeah. I mean, they, like you mentioned, Matt, I think, Clemson does have a very good D line, right? It's probably the strength of their defense. But Texas, they do have they got dogs there. And I love watching the Texas defense. Listen, man, you guys was flying around that ball, man. That dude, who's that, #4, your safety? He was trying to produce in the morgue. He almost put that quarterback in the morgue. He was about to give him a 10-year sentence right there on the football field. And it was a clean hit, man. That was the beauty about it. Because we never want to see anyone get hurt, right? We don't want to see that. But and also when we do see hits like that, we just want to make sure they clean it, man. It was a clean hit. But yeah, man, your D line, man. I like Texas. You guys are solid to me all across the board. But yeah, your D line over Clemson's. Texas.
Yeah, Makuba. That picture of the quarterback's face when his helmet's off, someone should make a shirt of that because his face is hilarious when he's getting blasted like that.
Yo, that was crazy, man. What a hit, man. That was big boy football, man. And that's what you expect to see in these championship games, man. And listen, I know it's music to your ears. You might see them for the third time.
Yeah, and this time no Carson. Listen, we figured out Gunnar Stockton at the end. We knew he couldn't throw, so it took us a little bit too long. I was kind of frustrated with that, especially on that last play when Beck came in. I'm like, just every guy, 11. I don't need 8-man rush. I need 11-man because that dude came in with his arm dangling like this, and I was like, he's not throwing a pass.
Yeah, I tried to like explain how bad a UCL injury is in a throwing arm for a quarterback. But I mean, just like you just said, look at that when he came back in the game like that. It was right there. You can see it. We had a player that partially retired because of a UCL injury.
Yeah, he won't even be able to grip a football for a year. Like he's not going to be able to grip it for a year.
That's unfortunate. We could let's get right to the meat of this thing, right? You brought it up. Kate Klubnik is from Texas, beat Quinn Ewers head-to-head in the Texas state championship or playoffs. Who is the better quarterback? Is it Quinn Ewers, the #1 overall quarterback in that class? What was that, 23?
I think he reclassified, so 22 maybe. I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
it
you're
might
right,
be 22.
Or Kate Klubnik, another guy who got some hype coming out of high school for sure, has not necessarily reached the heights of hype that Ewers has, or Ewers' backup, who is getting even more hype than that. but who does have the better quarterback, in your opinion, going into this game?
So if you're just going Quinn versus Cade, I think I got to give the slight edge to Cade just because he can make plays off time. And that's what's so frustrating with Quinn. So in that Michigan game, his pocket presence and mobility was beautiful, like just stepping up in the pocket, eyes downfield. Yeah. Have not seen that since. I don't know if it's both the injuries that have stacked up and it's like I just don't want to get hit anymore. Right. But if he would have played like that the rest of the year, this Texas team would have beat Georgia at least one of the. We definitely would have beat him in the SEC championship game. I don't think we would have beat him the first time because they were just men on mission that night. Right. But it's so frustrating because when it is there, when you see it, he's very talented. You can see why he was so rated so highly in high school. To play the Matthew Golden down the sideline, escapes the blitz, runs out to the right, delivers a dime down the field to Matthew Golden. Then you have the other one. Early in the game, you deliver a dime to Matthew Golden in the end zone, hard catch, but he should have caught it. But can I rely on that down in and down out? I can't. But I can rely on Cade Klubnik off schedule making plays because I've seen that more consistently. So I would give the slight edge here. I will say this. I think if we're ranking all the quarterbacks, I think Quinn Ewers is probably the fourth best quarterback in this playoff. I would take – I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would take Drew Aller over him. I would take Dylan Gabriel, and I would take Cade Klubnik. Every other one, I would take Quinn Ewers.
I mean, the way Aller's playing right now, yeah.
Well, I mean, based on how
are you
looks,
saying right here that you do believe Quinn Ewers, as of today, is a better quarterback than Arch Manning?
Yes, because he understands the system. Arch is basically, he doesn't know how to check down. His check down is there's a guy 50 yards downfield. Let's just friggin' take this bomb. That's his check down. He does not believe in the check down.
I like the aggressiveness though, but I get what you're saying. You gotta be no, you're right though. You gotta have the awareness on the field, man. And look, this is what I'll say. I disagree with the Drew Aller. I'm sorry. I'll take Ewers over him any day. But I get it. It's debatable, right? When I look at both quarterbacks, right? I think Ewers, I wouldn't say he digressed as the season went, but it looked like from the Michigan game, okay, this guy might have a Heisman type season, right? Because that's what it was looking like. We was like, okay, this guy right here. But then it's like, kind of what happened there. But the point is he's been consistent. He hasn't put up phenomenal numbers, but he's winning, right? We know the only 2 losses came from Georgia. Now, Cade, on the other hand, during this season, I'll pick Ewers, but I don't think it's that far apart. But again, it's defenses. I don't think in the ACC, Clemson has really faced them type of defenses. Look, the good thing you got going for you, Matt, they played 2 SEC teams, Clemson, and guess what was the results in those games?
Lost both of them.
Correct. So they'll get their third crack on Saturday, and I think they'll strike out. I think they'll go 0 for 3.
Is the line still 11 points on this game?
Moved up to 12.
Oh
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm mad, man. I don't know if you remember when it came out. I said this is the game I'm most confident about, and not by winning. I like Texas. I think spread wise. I'm a sore loser, so I don't bet no more. But this is a game I'll put money. I just think that Texas defense is elite. I think and you made a phenomenal point earlier, Matt, regarding Arch Manning. I remember people killing Jim Harbaugh during JJ's freshman. Why he's incorporating 2 quarterbacks? Man, shut up. He's too athletic to be on the bench, JJ. Yeah. And he contributed very well as a freshman, and that helped him transition to his sophomore season. I think we saw Arch early when he took over for Ewers. I believe he missed 2 or 3 games. You could correct me. I'm wrong. I don't know how many games exactly, but he was cooking. Arch was cooking, and you could see he has raw talent. That dude got wheels, bro. My goodness. So I agree, man. Sarkisian, to me, I call him one of the Jedi play callers, one of the best, not only in college, I just think in football, period. But he needs to make that adjustment in the red zone. I agree, because that's going to be the difference between you winning one game in the playoff and you winning the national championship. So that
Yeah,
has to be corrected.
And I heard people bring up a couple other people, and I agree with it. The Florida team with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow, I think that's how this team should operate. Chris Leak was in between the 20s, but when you got in that 10-yard area, 15-yard area, you brought in Arch, or you brought in Tim because he could, pound it in. And Arch can too. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, and he's fast, he's strong, he's physical. Yeah, and I completely agree. Raw talent-wise, Arch is more talented than Quinn. There's no doubt. He just doesn't understand the offense right now. That's why I'm not willing to give him the keys. But to use him in a red zone package, absolutely, he should be utilized.
Yeah. No, definitely. And he's a dual threat quarterback, right? It's not like us when Orgy came in, we knew what was going to happen. That's just a run. Well, Arch, you can't reload the box because he'll just throw it over your head. Bing! So it's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait. Wait.
I loved that play call, too, versus Georgia, 4th and 1, and Arch runs for the QB sneak. Instead, it's snapped between the legs, and James, I friggin' love that play.
Oh, what a play. That play was great. Great play.
No doubt. Kinetic, who do you think has the better quarterback between these two teams?
Between the two? I mean, I'll be honest. Just like Matthew said that he did. Coming into college, I thought Klubnik was better. I think that. So here's what I'll say. I think that they're really comparable to each other, and I struggle to say one is clearly better than the other. If I was putting together a football team, I'd rather have Quinn Ewers.
Gotcha.
But I struggle to say that he's just outright better than Klubnik.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the same. I mean, and Matt, you touched on this too. After that Michigan game, it was so impressive what Quinn Ewers was doing in the pocket, out of the pocket even. It compelled me to I created a video, a short, on just how good Quinn Ewers was after that game. I thought he was on a fast track to the Heisman, actually, after that game. Obviously, things happened since then, not so much. I thought at the time his ceiling was higher than somebody like K. Klubnik. What I have realized during this season, though, and you also brought this up, is he is kind of limited with his arm strength, right? And when you get down inside the 20-yard line, the field is condensed. You need to be able to fit it in some tight windows. Sometimes he doesn't feel all the way comfortable doing that, and I think that knocks him down a peg for me. So I would unfortunately give K. Klubnik, a slight edge there. And I was really a rough judge on K. Klubnik, especially earlier this year after that Georgia game. I was like, yeah, this guy isn't the guy. But since that time, he's kind of played a lot better too. So it's interesting what you get early in the year to now, because if that defense of Michigan, for instance, played the way it did against Texas all year, there's no way that they're even 7-5 now. So you do need a full season to really make these sorts of decisions, man.
Well, yeah, and Quinn, it's so weird because I went back and watched a couple plays of the Alabama game for his first year. His arm strength, like on his deep throws, there was so much more zip. I don't know what has happened because the one throw to Xavier Worthy had earlier in that game was on a rope, like 50 yards down the field on a rope, and it was just insane. And then ever since then, I have not seen that. It's all lofted in the air. Now, he has great touch. I'm not saying that. He throws the ball with great touch and anticipation. That might be his best trait is anticipation. You see throws where he's throwing guys way before they're breaking out of their routes. And that's high level NFL stuff. And he does it really well. And he's really good at throwing intermediate routes, especially layering the football over linebackers in between safety. He's phenomenal at that. But just the rocket arm, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the injuries over time. I don't know if it's the lack of, I don't want to step into throws because I do get hurt. I don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. And finally, we come to our last comparison, and that is the coaches of these two teams. You have Dabo Swinney for Clemson, two-time national champion, right? He's got 2.
Yeah.
Correct. 2.
Steve Sarkisian, great offensive mind, has been a part of some really good teams, is now coaching a really good team, back-to-back appearances in the college football playoff. Who is the better coach? We'll start with you, Matt. You are the guest.
Man, this is even a bigger coin flip to me than Cade Klubnik and Quinn, because do I take the past into consideration? Because if it's the past, you got to go Dabo. If you take now, I think Sark is slightly better, but not by a lot. So I'm gonna give Dabo the slight edge. And if Sark goes on a run this year and we make the Final Four again or get to a national championship, I would start to give him the edge. I would actually probably call him at that point the second best coach in college football. But for now, I got to go with Dabo. He's got too many skins on the wall. I got to go with Dabo.
No doubt. Let's take it around. What you guys think?
Go ahead, Maniac.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, just what Dabo has done, can't go unnoticed, man. There's only one current coach who has as many natties as Dabo, and that's Kirby Smart. So, but that's just in general. But we talking about today, right now. Who's the better coach? I'm gonna go with Sark right now. I don't think Dabo could go. His team today could go 11-2 in the SEC this year. I think if they were there, he goes maybe 6-6, 5-7. I'm just being honest. So, if we talking about best coach today, I'm gonna go Sark. If we going best coach overall, then yeah, you gotta go Dabo. I mean, he got a lot of hardware, man. A lot of hardware over there. So yeah. So today I'll go Sark. Overall, Dabo.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'd say that Dabo has a better resume, but I've always kind of felt like Dabo was a little bit more hype than substance. Like he succeeded, I think, in large part because of his coordinators.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of teams did.
Right.
Look at Nick Saban. Look at them coordinators he had.
But there's certain coaches that can win despite their coordinators, and some that can only win if they have good coordinators. And in my opinion, we're looking at the two coaches here. I think that you can see both types. I think Sarkisian's going to be good no matter who his coordinators are. Obviously, if he has good coordinators, it's going to raise the level. But he's still a great coach without him. I don't know that I see Dabo as a great coach if he never gets those incredible coordinators. But I know that if I'm choosing a coach for my team, I'm choosing Sark.
Yeah. I think Dabo was just stubborn too. He don't want to get nobody from the portal. He refuses. You have to adjust, man. It's adjust or die in today's college landscape. But go ahead, man.
No. I agree with some of the things that Kinetic was saying. However, let's not forget that Sark was at USC. That didn't go well. In fact, an argument can be made as a head coach. It didn't go well until he got to Texas, honestly. As a coordinator, he did very well. I mean, he's had some success at other places. So I don't want to just act like, this Texas success is the only thing that defines his coaching, you know what I mean? Because that wouldn't be fair. While with Dabo Swinney, though I do want to preface this because I do think it matters about what you're doing today too. But Dabo Swinney came to Clemson, turned that program around in the midst of like a dominant Florida State run, right? Florida State was the team in the the ACC, I'm sorry. And Dabo was able to create what he created in Clemson, kind of, turn the tables there. Now Clemson is the dominant team, maybe not necessarily now, although they are in the playoff, but they are that team. He made them that team. He got the pelts on the wall, like Matt said. He's got a Nick Saban head up there. You know what I mean? He's got those things under his belt. In terms of a resume, it's not even close, in my opinion, that he is the better coach. However, for today's college football, and with his recent success, I think Sarkisian if I was starting a team today, is who I would go with. And that's not even close in my opinion. So it's a weird thing where like the resume says that Dabo is by far the greater coach. However, the moment says that Sarkisian is the better coach. So I think right now Sarkisian is the best coach. If all of that makes any sense, that what I just said.
I do want to bring something up to Matt before he gets out of here.
Yeah.
So a good buddy of mine is a diehard Oklahoma fan, and with all the controversy of the flag planting recently, a conversation I was having with him, he said this happens every year with Texas, Oklahoma. It's just a normal thing. Give us your thoughts on that. How do you feel about the flag planting and Ohio trying to make it a felony to do it now?
It's funny because I actually live in Ohio. Yeah, it's soft as hell. So I don't understand. I hate Ohio State fans just as much as you guys. I'm going to go to the Texas versus Ohio State game week 1 in Columbus. Probably going to get stuff thrown at me because the last time Texas went there were beer bottles thrown at those fans. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, Texas fans hate Ohio State fans for that. That's the worst they've ever been treated at another stadium. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think it's soft. I think it's dumb. If you win the game, you can do whatever. I mean, to an extent, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, I don't want someone out there brawling or anything like that. But if you want to plant a flag, I have no issue with it. Texas, yeah, this year they beat Oklahoma, planted a flag. They actually got an Oklahoma jersey. Yeah, and we did it there. But we got an Oklahoma jersey, laid it out, and stuck the flag through it. So you get to do it. You get to do.
I feel like if the time if you don't want the visiting team to celebrate on your field, you beat them in the game. Mm-hmm. If you don't beat them in the game, get off the field, let them celebrate however they choose to celebrate. You don't no celebration, whether it's a flag or otherwise, deserves violence from the other team. I mean, just because Ohio State doesn't plant a flag, they have their little post-game ritual they do in every stadium that they win in. It doesn't matter what the celebration is. I feel like if you lose, get off the field, let the team that earned it celebrate.
I agree.
Yeah.
You got that loser speech to go here in the locker room. You got to go get that.
I thought that was hilarious though to watch Friday afterwards. Just like, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was just horrible, man. Listen, I don't want to hear no one talking about Jack Sawyer. Listen, you lost to a very bad Michigan team. We had one of the worst offenses in the nation. We're about 120 something. A walk-on quarterback, Davis Warren, right? The guy threw for 62 yards, 2 interceptions, going up against the number 1 defense statistically, right? Total yards and points given up. At their home, they spent $20 million on this roster. Bro, you should just be running to the locker. I'll be scared to show my face after that game that we lost to these guys. And most of these guys came back for their senior seasons. And one of the goals was to beat Michigan. They said we can't go our whole career at Ohio State, 0 for 4 against Michigan. And that's exactly what happened. This was their best year to do it. So, listen, even looking, like you said, I know you don't like them, which is a good thing. And this is why I'll be cheering for your team even more now, Matt, come Saturday. But you don't do that, man. You take your L like a man and you keep it moving. So, and anyone that feels that Michigan was disrespectful, they being clowns because we've seen other teams do it and no one cared. You saw in Texas, you guys did it. Did we start a fight with you guys? No, we in the locker room where we belong because we got embarrassed. We're not fighting.
Well, and they did it as they're trying to do this law as a knee-jerk reaction to the Michigan game. But they play Texas to open the season next year, don't they?
That's what he said. He's going to the game. He said he's going to the game.
But what I'm saying is, do you think that if Texas goes in there and wins, that they plant the flag still?
No, because I don't think they will. Because Sark, I think the reason why we didn't versus A&M is because he saw that stuff unfold that whole day. Like there was 4 or 5 other things that played out with that, and then Texas was going to do it at A&M, and he's like, "Nah, we're done. You're getting in the locker room, go celebrate. We're not having this beef here. So I don't think we'll do it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Matt, we got to thank you for joining us here tonight, taking the time out of your night to come join us here. We got to do this again, maybe after you guys beat Clemson. Get you back going, man. Tell the people where they can find you, what you got going on.
Yeah.
Actually, before that, I'm sorry. A longtime friend of the show, Dom the Don. Said, what's your take on Texas's game plan? Physical run or slinging it?
No, everything that Sark wants to do, you have to run the ball. Like, we do play action the best off that. If you want to run the screen game, we do it best off of that. Quinn Ewers is best off that. When he turns his back and then unleashes with anticipation, we have to be able to run the ball, period. If we can't run the ball, you've seen that. The 2 games, again, we have not been able to run the ball. We're both versus Georgia. We lost those games. Every other game, we've run the ball decently well. We've won. Got to run the ball.
No doubt. All right, and now tell the people what you got going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, just go over to Texas at the Voice of College Football. I have a show every Monday with my co-host Gerald at 8 o'clock, breaking out the latest news. We talked about portal stuff today, which is interesting. We've landed a couple guys have visited. And speaking of Oklahoma, real quick, that was hilarious that you brought that up because they are getting slaughtered in the portal. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I've
also, check me out on Twitter at MatthewMS97 for all you guys that want to follow me. Sports most of the time over there. Baseball, basketball, football, whatever you want it to be. And yeah, just follow me there. And I love being on. I love to talk Texas football. So if you guys want to have me on again, I'm definitely willing to do it.
No, we will, man.
I don't think we. Maybe if I missed it, I apologize because I've been doing a lot of stuff. But did we get a score prediction from Matt?
No, I don't think so.
Game?
I can give it.
We didn't get a score. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe I said 26-17. I think Texas wins 26-17. I think the defense. I've said this for a while now. I think the last month, if you could guarantee me 24 offensive points and we just don't give the ball to the other team in advantageous field position or they go and score off of it, I think Texas wins the national championship. I think that's all it takes because that's how good I think this defense is. But can they do that? I don't know. This is a thing I forgot to say. Georgia and Texas A&M, the last 6 quarters, 6 quarters of offense, 600 yards, over 600 yards. We have scored 16 points, not including the overtime. That's god-awful red zone execution.
Wow.
Bonus wow. Since you live in Ohio State, give us your score prediction for the Ohio State versus the other UT.
You're going to hate me. I think Ohio State's going to win the game. I think it's going to be a bloodbath, though. I think it's going to be defensive as hell. I would take the under in that game. I think Ohio State wins by like 3 or 4. I would take Tennessee to cover for sure. I don't know why it's 7 points because this is how I look at it. They struggled with you guys, and Tennessee, honestly, is just a hyped up version of you guys. They're better at running the ball. Yeah. They have a better quarterback, and they have a better defense this year. So, like, they should be able to exploit the weaknesses that Michigan did versus Ohio State. But I still think Ohio State's
I've been waiting all year for Nico to really get to the next level, and it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully, it happens this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be the best game out of the 4. I also think Indiana Notre Dame is going to be a lot better game than people think it's going to be.
No, I agree.
No, you don't? Okay.
I think that's going to be bad, too. I actually have Notre Dame and Texas in the championship game this year, which it really pains me to put Notre Dame in that championship game. But I just feel like, I don't know, Georgia's not going to have a quality quarterback. They're not going to be ready. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Notre Dame. If they were ever going to get there, this is the year for them to do it.
Well, that's the funny thing, too. If that happens, it'd be a complete full circle moment. Because remember, the first time anyone ever said Texas is back was versus Notre Dame on that night. Imagine getting to beat them in a national championship game and saying, for real, Texas is back after that. So that'd be awesome.
But what wasn't it? It wasn't against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl?
No, because the guy, when Tyrone Swoopes dove into the end zone, the announcer's like, yes, Texas is back, folks. And then that's what, like 3 years later, Sam Ehlinger said that after the Sugar Bowl. Yeah.
Sam Ehlinger. He said that. Yeah.
No doubt, man.
All right, man. Well, again,
thank you
so much, man. We do appreciate you, man. You're a friend of the channel now, man. We'll definitely keep an eye on yours. You said Mondays 8 o'clock, and Hopefully we could have you back so we could talk Texas, Arizona State.
I think that'd be a fun game. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I feel very confident we play them. I feel way more confident than playing them than we do Clemson. But Scatterbo versus our defense would be fun to watch.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. All right,
Thanks
man.
for having me, guys.
Yes, sir.
Nah,
Yeah,
no
man.
problem,
Thanks for
man.
coming on.
Thank you. Nah,
Matt
man.
Miller,
Good,
ladies and gentlemen.
good
voice of
dude,
college
man.
football
Good
Texas.
dude. And what I did like about him is that it was no excuse. He said, listen, Georgia was just better. Like, he takes ownership as a fan. You don't hear Ohio State fans do that. It's always an excuse why they lost or why they look like this. Bro, the teams are just like, stop it. Matt, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that because it drives me insane that people just can't admit it. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no doubt. Michigan is making some noise. Finally, the portal is heating up for the Wolverines. They got 2 DBs tonight. TJ and Tevis Metcalf, cousins of
a safety. TJ's a safety. And Tevis is a cornerback.
Yeah. I said 2 DBs.
All right. I thought you said my fault. I thought you said CBs. I'm sorry.
No. 2 DBs tonight. Tevis and TJ Metcalf, cousins of Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. Apparently, the Metcalf family loves initials. Shout out to them. What are your thoughts? And by the way, that it didn't stop there because they also got the #1 offensive tackle in FCS, Brady Norton, who played 704 snaps, allowed this many sacks. The #1
Dunkin' Donut. How you like that donut? Glazed or sprinkled?
Pass rusher. I'm sorry, #1 pass blocking offensive tackle according to PFF with a 91 grade, 6'4", 290 pounds of you can't touch the quarterback. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, Kinetic.
So talking specifically about the Metcalfs,
all of them,
or all
everybody. So far.
So with Grady Norton, I think it's a good signing. He was absolutely lights out as an offensive lineman at the level that he was playing at. Mm-hmm. But there's always the question coming up to Division I, let alone Power 4. How's he going to translate? In this guy's case, from what I saw on tape, I think it's going to translate just fine. I don't know if he's going to be a starter, but I think he has the potential to be, depending on what else we do with the offensive line. We've got some holes we got to fill. But I think that whether he starts or not, he's going to be a very solid addition to the line. Dude looks great on tape. If you look at the tape on him, he absolutely kills it. The Metcalf brothers, obviously you see the name Metcalf and you're like, oh, hey, that it's gonna raise your prick your ears up a little bit when you see that. They both come from Arkansas, and I believe I get them confused. Tevis is the cornerback, and
TJ's the safety.
Is the safety, right? So TJ started this year for Arkansas. I don't think Tevis actually played much beyond special teams.
He did it.
Yeah, so that's what they said. Mainly, he appeared like in every game, but just mainly on special teams. Correct.
Right. But I can tell you, our friend TJ over at Voice of College Football Michigan did a quick video with the film on them, and I took a look at that for a minute. And the film on Tevis, he looks good. His footwork is great. It didn't seem like he was out of position. He had the IQ of when to switch, how to switch gears, switch who he was defending. It looked good. So I'm excited for him. He's a little on the smaller side, but I think that TJ Metcalf is going to be an instant contributor. I could see him competing for the other safety spot there with Rod Moore. I think we want to go a little bit bigger at nickel, so I don't know about that, but I mean, it looks good. I think that all three of these signings, if you look at the tape, really look like they play above what their star rating was coming out of high school. So
yeah, and definitely
good signings.
Yeah. No, and again, these are the kind of guys Michigan is looking for, right? We're just not, fans just want the best available. We want him. We want him. They start chasing. They don't work like that. Look, Ohio State. 10 years, no natty. Start chasing. Like, relax, guys, relax. You can't get all the best. You want to get guys that's going to fit that system, man. Guys who's not going to be cancers to the locker room, man. These are the kind of guys we want. I mean, let's start with Brady Norton, right? Of course, what has been the staple of Michigan football for these last 3.5 years is the trenches. So we continue to get better there. Beautiful. Yes, buy it. He played at Cal Poly. It's a FCS school, but I think it's going to transition well. It might be, in the beginning it might be a little rough, but I think once he adjusts, the dude is gonna be that, man. I think he's gonna be a great addition to that Michigan O line. And then let's get to the Metcalf cousins, right? TJ, of course, a safety. The guy put up some good numbers, and this is against top competition. He played in the SEC, right? So again, coming to the Big Ten is not going to be, no big surprise. It's not like he's coming from FCS school. And Tevin, again, like they said, he has 3 years of eligibility left. Tevin, I believe TJ has 2. So I think him and Brandon Hillman will probably definitely be battling for that other safety spot, because if Rod Moore comes back, it's his, no debating there, unless he just fell off bad, which I doubt. So this is what we need. I think this is going to be the start of a couple of more signings this week. So hopefully we could get some D linemen, especially in the interior. I know Grant hasn't made his announcement yet. I mean, his decision, whether he's going to stay or not. I believe TJ was mentioning it. They're trying to put together a nice NIL package to keep him in Ann Arbor for 1 more year. I mean, that'll be a phenomenal in addition to bring them back. So hopefully we could get some DTs, man. And Hausman and Jay Sean comes back as well.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I mean, I think TJ Metcalf could be an instant contributor for Michigan. I'm sorry, the way my mic now is set up. TJ can be an instant contributor to Michigan. Tevis is still young. He was a true freshman this year, so he's got, plenty of time to sit back, learn the game. And Michigan needs some corner depth anyway. I don't expect that he'll be a starter or even, threatening for a starter this season, but, next season and beyond for sure. And then Brady Norton is a dude. And I know he played FCS football. I know the competition is way and I was making fun of the Ashton Genty Mountain West competition, but the FCS competition is, makes that look like the SEC, right? But still, he is very good, and I think he'll be very good at Michigan. He's got some experience, and he still has 3 years of eligibility. So that's amazing. Michigan can definitely use someone like him in the trenches. But like you said, it's still about building those trenches, right? The identity has been the trenches, both on offense and defense. They're losing a major part of that trench on the defensive side, with Graham going to the NFL and Josiah Stewart also. But we got good news with TJ Guy and Derek Moore both returning. Trying to get Kenneth Grant to return. If Kenneth Grant returns for his senior season, look out, because that's going to be very good. He might be a top 10 pick in the subsequent draft. So that'll be insane. I'm excited about what they're doing with the portal. I think my guy Antoine brought up Sean McGee, who is the general manager basically, and he's got a great plan in place. I've heard him talk about it, and I think Michigan's in a great spot to really add the talent that they need and the fits, like you brought up, that they need on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean McGee's doing a really good job, but I do have to agree again with TJ that I feel like they're being a little bit too conservative. Like I think they're going into some of these meetings too hard nosed on their negotiations, because while I'm not freaking out like Moose is on Twitter, and that's not a shot, Moose, it's just I do feel like while we are getting guys, we're getting good guys. We're doing what Michigan always did, and we're finding the guys that are outperforming their the exposure that they've gotten and their national sort of perception. But there's a lot of guys that we've either not even taken a swing on or we've completely missed on. And it doesn't make sense because we were expecting them to go into this portal and be aggressive and make some of those splash signings, and they haven't yet. So I feel like we still are waiting for that splash.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Johnny Oden Jr. who's in the chat. He said Moose and Burks, buy some of my merch, bury the hatchet. That's a fact, man. Go support
there you
Johnny.
go, man. Listen, yeah. Look, man, listen, guys in the chat, man, I get it. First of all, I love all of you. But let's just keep it respectful, gentlemen. Like, it is no need to go crazy on each other, man. We gonna agree to disagree. We here on our show, me, Madman, Kinetic, we gonna disagree on a lot, man, but we not gonna attack each other personally, man. So just be easy, man. And don't worry, man. Most likely next season, we're gonna do a meet and greet. So I want to see a lot of you there, and we're gonna chill. We're gonna have fun. We ain't gonna have none of this negative energy, man. Save that for the Ohio State fans after they lose Saturday.
Absolutely, man. Because the chat, y'all be beefing like Crips and Bloods in the chat. It's crazy, and we all here rooting for the same team. Y'all be gangbanging like shit in the chat, man. It's crazy.
They going at it, man. They going at it.
As long as they don't go full Rip Star, we're okay.
Yo, my man, I was looking for Rip was going crazy today too. I saw it, but I just was like, man, we gotta guess. I'm not even gonna bring no attention to it.
We don't entertain it, man. It is what it is, man.
DK was here because DK would have got him out of there quickly. I know it. Shout out to DK. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
To Kinetic's point, I know you mentioned Kinetic regarding we've been whiffing on some players, right? I was speaking to my man, right? I knew him. He was one of like the first people when I went on Twitter, like 2012, the first time. The account you found, Madman, that was my second account. But anyway, he was like one of the first Michigan fans I met, not from New York City, just on social media. And he's from the state of Michigan. I believe he's from the city of Detroit. And he knows somebody from Cass Tech. He be telling me, we be chatting here and there. And he was telling me that a lot of these players are using Michigan as leverage, man. These players to get to, up their value. And so, a lot of it, these players are playing us. They come in, I'm going to visit Michigan. Oh, shit. Because, ever since the whole Bryce Underwood, everybody said, oh, shit, Michigan is Scrooge McDuck. They got the bag. They swimming in money over there.
Right.
So, that could be that. But listen, we got to understand something. Again, I would have liked for us to be more active, but I'm going to trust the coaches, Sean McGee. I'm going to trust them. And we saw that at the end of the season, it worked out, right? Kinetic, you was one of the biggest advocates for that, right? Trust the coaches, trust the process. So the same energy I'm going to keep in the portal. I'm not going to be a negative Nancy regarding that. Let's see what happens when it's all said and done. Because remember, then we got the portal in the spring. When it's done and the portal's officially closed for the season, then we could critique whether we hit a home run or we struck out.
Real quick, we got a special request from my guy Dom, the Don.
The Don.
How about the OSU soft clip? Here we go.
I said you soft, so what? What you gonna do? What?
Don't no man call me soft. I hate that, all right?
Wait, let me slow you down, cause I'm a man. I called you soft. First of all, now I don't like you swelling all up and all. What's all this swell up shit? What's that about? What you taking in all this air for, Claude? What you feeling, huh? What's on your mind, huh? What, you gonna put your chin up? Huh? That means something to me? Cause I said soft? Cause I said soft, so what? I said I spell it. SOF Soft. Huh? How you like that? What you gonna do, Claude?
SOF soft. Shout out to Dom.
How you? First of all, that's a classic movie. I love that.
Absolutely.
I'm the pappy. I'm the pappy. Oh my god. Yo, that could be another one, right? Who's the father? And you put the baby as the Ohio State face, and then everybody. I'm the pappy. If Tennessee wins, you could put Oregon. All the teams that beat them. Oh man, that'd be funny.
I just need Man to make a clip out of the cornbread scene, like please.
Oh man, you want your cornbread? That has so many, man. Oh man, that reminds me of Carlito's Way. It just has so many lines. Did you see my McNamara? What happened?
I did not see the McNamara announcement. What he announced?
Oh yeah, Moose. Let us know, Moose. I want to know.
To the draft.
I'm
sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
He posted a thing that was similar to Hayes Fawcett's graphics, saying that McNamara had committed to Michigan, called him check down Cade.
Yo.
So he's trolling Michigan. He's trying to troll Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Check
is what we say.
First of all, listen, I stand by this fact. On P in the Bed with that weak ass black. It's from the movie. Anyway.
Yeah.
I will say this about Cade McNamara, and I stand on it. I'm standing on this business. Cade McNamara is the most important Michigan player in modern Michigan history, in my humble opinion. If not for Cade McNamara, I don't know where this program would be. Somebody had to go snatch the ball out of fucking Joe Milton's hands and beat Rutgers. Ain't that a damn shame? We had to beat Rutgers in a nail biter. But shout out to Cade McNamara, who turned out to be a real piece of shit, actually. But
yeah, bitter.
It is what it is.
He became bitter. Yeah, he became bitter, man. I don't understand. You just move along. You mad because JJ took your spot, or you felt you was done wrong? Listen, this is the era of college football. It's not. It's short. It's listen. We got the next game with. He did hold us down, absolutely, right. and I agree. But it's the way he went out. That the talking and. But it is what it is. We ain't into the gossip here. We here to talk football. So look, now it's looking like our man is not the quarterback. What's my man's name? Billy.
He committed to Wisconsin.
Oh, Billy Edwards.
Billy Edwards.
Billy Edwards. So Billy, yeah, he did, right? Did he commit or he was crystal ball?
Yeah, no, he committed. Well, no, wait, I thought I saw commit. Hold on, now you got me wondering if I.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got crystal balled. I didn't see that he committed.
Yeah, let me double check. Yeah. I thought I saw that he committed, but now I'm down.
Yeah, so obviously he's not coming out, right? And we kind of had our conversation regarding. Well, I had my thoughts on him, which I felt he was a perfect fit for Michigan because he was going to be that bridge. He was going to hand the keys over to Underwood sometime in the season early. But you need that rugged veteran, and also he don't mind riding the pine. But obviously, something's changed, and it's not gonna happen.
Right. You need to get you some Woodson whiskey, John.
with some whiskey. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm not a big whiskey guy, but I wouldn't mind trying
I don't
that.
even drink, but I'm gonna get some.
Oh,
Just
no?
because. No, I don't drink.
Nah. All right, don't worry, man. I'll make sure I get you a Capri Sun when we link up. A fruit punch Capri Sun.
You gotta get a sippy cup. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached that time in the show, I guess, where we have run out of information to share with you. But be sure to follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. Kinetic, tell them where they can find you.
Every platform, Twitter, X, Instagram, PlayStation, Discord, YouTube, Kinetic 615, any platform, look me up, and then right here on Monday nights.
Maniac,
Kinetic.
before we get to you. Oh, go ahead.
I'm speaking of PlayStation, man. I'm still putting up good numbers, man.
Wait, what?
And I'm still putting up good numbers.
Oh,
on PlayStation
against everyone except for me.
No. He means the Kinetic. The Kinetic team.
The team.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no. So for anyone that doesn't know, I've got a YouTube series that I do with a team builder team on the college football game, and I actually made Madman and Maniac here the quarterback and running back of the team. And this year, Maniac started out as the number 2 running back, took the job like 4 games in, and has been lighting it up every game since. So I stream it a couple times a week. It's just something to do for fun. Yeah, you lighten it up. Madman had me worried on the last game because I don't play them. I let the computer run it and I watch it and stream it. Had a bit of a Davis Warren start to the game with a couple interceptions. Turned it around afterwards, but I was a little worried there.
Jesus Christ! Unlike Davis Warren, by the way, Davis Warren would have thrown more interceptions. Anyway.
Those are
I'm joking. Davis Warren.
I mean, like I said, you turned it around and got like 150 yards by the end of it, but the start of the game was real rocky.
Real Davis Warren like.
Are we watch partying this week?
We definitely watch partying something this week. We got to choose the game. Do we want to do it Friday for that for the Indiana State Championship?
No, actually, no. I mean, you know what? Yeah, you know what? That I think we should do, and being that it's the first playoff game ever during the 12 team,
right.
I think we want to make history. So let's watch party that. I mean, just to see whatever. I mean, we could just be drinking, just talking football because it might be a blowout.
OSU.
No, we definitely doing Tennessee, Ohio State Saturday night. And those are the facts. And also, it's a good thing. It's good thing that it's 8. It's at 8 because there's a big fight on Saturday. We got Usyk versus Fury, the rematch. But it's going to be the main event is going to be around 6-ish. So that's perfect. That fight will be over by the time we get into Ohio State. You know, with Fury, the thing with him, man, when he's on, man, he's just tough, man. You're talking about a dude that's about 6'7", 6'8", with boxing skill, and he could punch. It's hard to beat that, but you know, Usyk, he just shows that the skills pay the bills, man. Being the smaller man, he's able to move, faster hands, faster feet, and you saw that in the first fight. The rematch, I'm on the fence, man. It's hard to go against Fury twice, but if there's someone that could do it, it is Alexander Usyk from Ukraine.
Yeah.
Hey, Madman, before we get out of here, Lichmax has asked in the chat multiple times, or at least brought it up. Now we know we've heard the rumors with Jair Hill, whether he's staying or leaving, but set that aside for a second. Jair Hill's brother entered the transfer portal. I think his name is Naz Hill or something like that. I haven't seen anything about Michigan targeting him, but what do you think about that? You got any thoughts on Naz Hill entering the portal?
So I mean, hopefully it helps to keep Jair Hill because from everything I'm hearing, he wants out. So if bringing his brother helps to, keep him locked in, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I don't get it, bro. Like, and maybe this is why Kinetic, Michigan, they probably know something, and this is why they staying aggressive and getting these, these DBs in the portal because they might know that,
And
why, or maybe
has to do
Michigan
with the
offer
money.
him something and he doesn't like it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, actually. But hopefully, we keep Jair Hill because he is a talented dude. He's got skills. He was a risk taker. I think that got him in trouble some this year, but other times he was really good. So we'll see what
Personally, I
happens.
really like him. I think he could be big here if he stays.
I agree.
Agreed. Absolutely.
The things I've heard are, it's like, really, man, come on, like,
Yeah,
but it's gonna
to
be
me. It
tough,
sounds
man.
like silly things that are causing all this
Yeah.
uncertainty.
Didn't someone mention that it's him like with personality issues that he's still like he's immature. He has some maturity.
Without going too far into depth to things that I've heard but not been able to confirm, what we know is the Northwestern game and the Ohio State game, his playing time was limited, and he was wearing a different jersey number. Now, in the past, Michigan has, for lack of a better term, punished players for different things by doing that same thing, limiting their playing time, making them wear a different number, whatever. It seems like he's kind of upset about that. And
speaking of which,
caused the problem. So,
Amir Hall, does he have any eligibility left, or he's done?
I'm pretty sure he's done.
No, I think he's got 1 year eligibility. Let me double. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me look.
Yeah, double check that because listen, he came on late, man. He was playing good ball, So
shout out to Joe Torres.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jair shared it on X. He shared the Nazil into the portal on X.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why Lynch is referring
but
to.
But did he share come to Michigan?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
because he could be in the portal and then both of them go to Miami or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And
okay, so it does look like Amir Hall, I think, is out of eligibility, but
yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Santino Ramey. Thank you for the $1 super chat. By the way, we're not going to bypass that. We appreciate it. You didn't have a message in there, so we're going to say the message for you. Go Blue.
There you go. Yeah, man. So listen again, man. Thank everyone for tuning in, man. Go ahead.
I did find a thing from A to Z Sports back on May 16th that said that Michigan brought him in and he's got 2 years of eligibility with him when he was brought in.
Oh,
who are we talking about?
Amir Hall.
Right?
Yeah. So when he was brought in back in May, he had 2 years of eligibility left. I think his first year he didn't play in enough games that he still got his red shirt.
Was he came from Albany, right? Was it Albany or it was one of these
Albany. It was Albany. So Go Blue in the chat saying this was his 5th year. I'm only seeing 4 years. His 5th year would have been the 2020 year, which would have been a COVID year, which means he'd get another year anyway. But in 2021, he had very few stats. It looks like he didn't play in that many games. So I think that's where he still had 2 years of eligibility coming in to his transfer.
Dom says, hit the like button. Make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, go do it now. We'll wait. All right. You can stick a lump of coal in the OSU fans' Buckeye and you'll have a diamond before halftime on Saturday. It's that much pressure.
Bars.
Dom does got bars. You got to cut a record. Santino Ramey, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, start Jaden Davis for the bowl game. Go blue. Santino, I am right here with you. All right.
You know,
if Jaden Davis can't throw the damn football, let us see it.
Yep. Like I said, I my opinion on that, give Davis Warren a half, give Jaden Davis the other half.
We don't need to see Davis Warren anymore. He's shown us what he got.
But if he feels like he wants to play it, I feel like the win, the what he's done this year and the win over OSU, he's earned it.
Okay, all right. We got to start chopping.
Especially because he's not gonna start next year. So this would be potentially his last chance to start. Let him have the first half.
It's fine. He had his opportunity. Yeah, listen, we definitely need to see Jaden Davis, man. If we don't see him during the bowl game, that's something very suspicious there. And any intel regarding Jaden Davis? What is he leaning towards leaving? Do we know anything
so far? I think he's going to be there. I've said this before. I think he's going to stick around at least for another year. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But I also think he should play. I think he should play the whole game, actually. Because why not? Davis Warren, thank you for your services, sir. By the way, I am not going to give you the same credit that Kinetic is giving you for Ohio State, because in actuality, you did everything you could to lose us that damn game.
Hold on. What does the record versus Ohio State say next to Davis Warren's name as a starting quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, are you saying that wins and losses is a quarterback stat?
I'm saying it matters. All I'm saying is he was a starting quarterback against Ohio State. He is 1-0 against Ohio State, and only 3 quarterbacks can say that in recent memory. 4 if you go back to 2011. But Cade is 1-0, JJ's 2-0, Davis Warren's 1-0. Period. That alone, in my opinion, give him the start.
This guy lost. He didn't start again as the quarterback.
Ridiculous argument.
It is. Listen, the bottom line is this, right? He didn't look good in the game, but he did enough. But I want to see Jaden Davis.
We don't win the game. We don't win the game if he doesn't make that. What was a 16-yard scramble for a first down?
Yeah, he hit my man. He hit my man Oliver from the gas station. The dude,
bro, we are really playing mental gymnastics here, trying to give this guy some credit for that win. Listen, he doesn't have to make the 16-yard scramble if he completes the pass to the man wide open in the end zone. He found the only path to not success by throwing it right in the chest of Jack Sawyer.
That's
the only. He did all the Doctor Strange stuff, and instead of finding the only path to success, he found the only path to doom and threw it to Jack Sawyer.
But he could have thrown. He could have thrown.
John just said, if you're in Ann Arbor and you see Davis Warren out at a bar, buy him a beer.
Wait, no, I will.
Yeah, buy him a beer.
No, buy him a beer for sure. I would buy Davis Warren a beer if I saw him in Ann Arbor for sure. Not though because I think he'd be Ohio State.
Let me ask you this: you buy him a beer? Will you buy him wings with the beer or just the beer?
I buy him wings too. You know what? Because that's how I like charity. You know, I feel for charity cases. All right.
Yes.
And I'm going to get him some wings. Right. He is a cancer survivor. He's an underdog. He walked on at Michigan. You know, all of that means something, right?
Extra ranch sauce.
Extra ranch, because you know what? I'm also trying to pitch him on letting me write his Hallmark movie.
Oh man. This is
anyway, because I don't want to be disrespectful to Davis Warren. By the way, you guys, if you've been watching, I have not called him that name in many episodes.
We're gonna refrain from that.
We're retiring that name. But like the guy said, follow them where you need to follow them. Follow me where you need to follow me. And somebody said plain wings unsauced.
What an OSU fan?
Oh my goodness!
It's Lynch Max. Lynch Max said plain wings unsauced.
Can't be doing that. This is why people think that we can't season food. Lich Mac, stop.
Hey, we shutting down the stream, man. Until next time, you know the slogan. I'm upset.
I'm upset.
Hey.